And I was like, I'm the same guy. I had the same income, I had the same credit score, and the difference was the person who was lending the money. So what can you do about getting better interest rates? Sometimes you need to shop around and shop around. So what is interest and why is it so important for you to understand it? By the end of this video, my goal is to help you understand interest so that you're double down on your commitment to earn it instead of paying it. So let's talk about why this is so important. I think I want to jump to a smarter guy than me. Albert Einstein said the following, or at least he's credited with saying the following: compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. My name is Cluff. I'm a former financial advisor turned financial educator and coach. I love helping people manage, protect, and grow their money, turning their income into wealth, and building what I call massive bank accounts. So you're going to want to really understand interest because, as like Albert Einstein said, you're going to want to earn it and not pay it. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that is. So let's just talk about what is interest in the first place. Well, interest is the cost to borrowing money, or it's a reward given for saving and investing money. Let's give you an example. If you go down to the bank and you borrow $10,000 at 6%, that 6% interest, 6% times 10,000 is $600. So you're going to pay $600 a year until you pay that $10,000 off. Now, every month or however often you pay that thing down, the interest rate is going to, the amount of interest, the dollar amount of interest goes down. But if you kept that $10,000 for 5 years, that's $600, and you didn't pay anything on it, and let's say it was a balloon payment or something like that, where after 5 years you started paying on it, that interest is accruing that whole time, and you're going to be about 13, almost 4, you're probably in the neighborhood of $13,000+ that you'll owe in total because you didn't really understand how interest worked. Now, if you go to the same bank and you go to put money in savings, I promise you they're not going to give you a whole number as a percentage of interest. They might give you 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, but let's just say for sake of math, they give you 1%. So $10,000 that you put money into the bank, that 1% earns you $100 a year. So every year that you have your $10,000 in there, it earns you. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between compound interest and simple interest, but right now I just wanted to give you the concept of how interest works. It's a reward for savings and investing, and it's a cost when you need to borrow money. It's the price to borrow money. So let's talk a little bit about how interest rates work. Everybody's familiar with car loans and home loans and mortgages. In fact, I just did a video on the difference between a home loan and a mortgage. You're going to want to watch that. But I think it's important to recognize that the higher the interest rate on your loan, the higher the payment is going to be. The lower the interest rate, the lower the payment's going to be. Now, usually with a car loan or a home loan, you have a time frame. You know, car loans are 5, 6, 7 years. And so it tells you within that period of time, this is going to be the payment, and they calculate the interest based on the number of years. 30-year mortgages have a lot of interest compounding. In fact, the first half of that 30-year mortgage, most of the money is going towards interest. And so you're really paying that thing down really slowly. That's why a lot of people try to pay extra on their mortgage to get it down quicker. If you'd like to know more about how to pay off your mortgage faster, then you might want to hit me up at paris@pariscluff.com or watch this video up here and check out my philosophy on how that really works. I have actually got some new things that I've learned and found out since then, but if you want to pay off your house faster, there's a strategy that you're going to want to know about. The next thing is credit cards. Credit cards have exorbitant amounts of interest that they charge. In fact, it's considered, in my opinion, usury. Usury is when the lender really overcharges and really takes advantage of the borrower. And I think that quite frankly, credit cards fall under that category. Credit cards they have 20 to 30% interest rate. In fact, recently I got a statement that one of my credit card interest rates is increasing by 5 or 6%. It went from 16 to 21 something percent. And I'm like, what? Like, this is ridiculous. So credit cards are huge. You want to be very careful with getting into credit card debt. In fact, I'm going to read a quote from you right now from a good friend of mine, J. Reuben Clark. It is a rule of our financial and economic life in all the world that interest is to be paid on borrowed money. Once in debt, interest is your companion every minute of the day and night. You cannot dismiss it. It yields neither to entreaties, demands, or orders, and whenever you get in its way, or cross its course, or fail to meet its demands, it crushes you. Boy, does that really hit the nail on the head, especially with credit card debt, especially with these payday loans. You do not want to get involved with any of those. If you have a credit card that's 20, 30% and you're carrying a balance, let's focus in on getting out of that as fast as possible. The more you realize how much that's really costing you and the damage that it's doing to your financial goals and dreams, you're going to want to get out of that debt so fast. And I did a series on debt. You're going to want to check that out up here as well. I have a playlist on all the different debt videos that I've done. You're going to want to check that out. And then hit me up at paris@pariscluff.com, and let's talk about ways to get you out of debt more quickly and more efficiently than you've ever seen. I've got strategies about getting out of debt. I haven't paid consumer debt myself in 15 years almost, so I know what I'm talking about getting out of debt and staying out of debt. Now let's talk a little bit about the reward for saving. Savings accounts at banks usually have a very low interest rate. And now I've done a video recently on the rule of 72, so you're going to want to check that out. The higher the interest rate that you're earning, the more often your money doubles. The more interest that you're earning, the higher your net worth grows and the faster it grows. The lower the interest rates you're earning, it's really not, you kind of want to beat inflation at least, and inflation's right around 3 or 4% historically. Right now it's probably a little higher than that, so you want to definitely be getting a good rate of return or good interest on your savings and investments. Investments, of course, are different than savings. Savings is kind of got some guarantees. Investments may or may not have a guarantee, and the risk-reward ratio is a little higher, so you have a little higher interest. So that's the idea here, is that the more risky something is, the higher the interest rate that it's going to charge to, if you were borrowing, or or if you're investing in it, the higher the interest rate is going to be back to you as the investor. So just remember that the risk-reward ratio is real, and you want to make sure that your interest, you want to make sure that you're keeping track of the interest that you're earning and the interest that you're spending, and making sure that you're maximizing and making it the most efficient possible. So there's two types of interest. There's simple interest, and simple interest basically it takes the amount of money that you've borrowed. Simple interest is it charges interest one time. So simple interest usually compounds once a month. Could compound once a year, and what that means is that it just gives you interest one time, and then the next time it gives you interest is whenever the next period of time it's going to be. Now, compound interest is different. Compound interest is every single day you're paying interest on the interest you were charged yesterday. So every new day there's your interest being charged on interest being charged on interest. Compound interest is great for investing and savings because you want to maximize the amount you're going to be earning, but compound interest is really dangerous when you're paying it. And credit cards are all compound interest. You're getting charged interest every single day, and that's why that J. Reuben Clark quote is so powerful. It's like, once you get in debt, you're a slave to that, and you want to get out from underneath that as fast as possible. So let me share with you a couple of things that you can do to make sure you're getting the best interest rates. So let me tell you a story about what happened to me. I actually was going to buy a car years ago. I had a credit score that was pretty low, and we're going to talk about credit scores and how they play into credit interest as well. But the higher your credit score, the better your interest rates are going to be. So you want to get a good credit score, go down. So I went to a car dealership out in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, hey, my credit's not that great. I want to buy a car. I need some money. I need to get a loan. And he ran my credit. He's like, well, we're going to charge you 12% interest. Now, 12% interest may be really good if you're talking about credit cards. But if you're talking about car loans, that's like astronomical. That's again, that word usury, that's where you're taking advantage of the borrower. And so I was like, that won't work. I can't afford that. The payment was really high. The terms were not working really well. And so I got frustrated. I was overwhelmed, and I was like, you know what, forget it. And if I can't get a good loan with a good payment to buy a car, maybe I can't buy a car. Maybe I need to get more money saved up to be able to put as a down payment. But then I got an idea that I was going to go down to talk to my local credit union. And I joined the credit union because they required me to be a member in order to get a loan. And then once I got a loan, they ran my credit. And they're like, oh, we can give you a loan for like 3%. And if you buy the car from this particular lot, we'll lower it another 1%. And I was like, I'm the same guy. I had the same income. I had the same credit score, and the difference was the person who was lending the money. So what can you do about getting better interest rates? Sometimes you need to shop around and shop around. Literally, by shopping around, by going from that car dealership to a credit union, I saved 9% interest. Now, compounded over 5 years, that's thousands of dollars that I saved just because I took time to shop around. Highly recommend that you take time to shop around. Don't if a car dealership tells you this is the terms, tell them thank you very much. Go find a bank or credit union. Specifically, credit unions are better than commercial banks. But you find a good credit union, you're going to get a much better rate typically on average, you're going to find a way better rate at a credit union. The other thing I would say is take advantage of high yield savings accounts. Right now, there's a bunch of high yield savings accounts that are earning 3 or 4%. Now, some are even higher than that, depending on like short-term little temporary like promotions. But I would definitely, if you have money sitting in a bank account, in a savings account, in a commercial bank earning less than 1%, move it into something earning you 4 or so percent. Now, right now, if you click the link down below, my M1 Finance link, you'll see that they actually are offering 4% high yield savings account. And that's attached to an investment vehicle or investment account where you can create an investment account as well and get even better rates of return by investing money in the market. But it gives you that 4% savings account. Super amazing, super huge. Get at least 4% and get yourself earning in a high yield savings account for sure. Hopefully this video gives you more understanding about interest and why it's so important that you're earning it and not paying it. If you want to know the difference between a mortgage and a home loan, you're going to want to watch this video right here. Until the next video, make sure that you're taking time every day to turn your income into wealth and build yourself a massive bank account. Take care.